Hi guys! Welcome to my channel. As you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking about my travel experience to Tulum during a pandemic, COVID-19. My travel was early August 2020. I personally had a lot of concern traveling or really leaving the house at all during the pandemic. But being in California and specifically in Orange County and close to LA where it was a crazy hotspot, so many cases, we're in one of the highest areas for exposure. So my trip was 6 days, 5 nights, all in Tulum. I flew out of Tijuana airport, and the reason why I chose Tijuana over LAX is because the price of flights was about 1/3 of the cost. So flying out of LAX was super expensive. The flight times were super limited, so Tijuana was the best bet for me. And considering that there's a border express and you can leave your car there and everything, it's so easy to travel out of there. So what I did is I just drove my car down there, and at the border express they do have a parking lot where you can just pay a fee per day and leave your car there the entire trip. That way you don't have to really worry about who's going to take you, who's going to pick you up, and all of that. Just leave your car and then it's there once you arrive. I've left it there before and it's safe. I've never had anything happen to it. Departing, my flight was at 7 a.m. I believe, so really early. And arriving, my flight was, I think my flight got in around like 10 or 10:30 p.m. Both of those times there were not too many people at the airport. Really close to departure time, the lobby was a little bit more crowded. When I arrived though, like around 10 p.m., there was maybe like 5 people in the lobby area waiting for their flight. So it was pretty empty overall. My flights, both going there and coming back, were pretty crowded though, like 80 to 100% capacity on the airplane. So that was a little crazy because obviously there's no social distancing going on there. All 3 seats next to me were filled at all times on all of the flights. So leaving, it was not a direct flight, it was a one stop both ways. Both stops were in Mexico City. The airport experience overall was good. In all of the lobbies there was social distancing, so every other seat was blocked off so nobody could sit next to you. Even if it's like your family or whoever you're traveling with, they advise that you do not sit next to each other. When you are boarding the flights, they start boarding the back of the plane first, and they only do about 4 or 5 rows at a time. So there's never too much of a crowd getting into the plane, and you try to do it quickly. But that kind of defeats the purpose of like social distancing and all of that, because on the plane you're sitting right next to somebody the whole time. So that's a little bit crazy. Also they did give us like water and snacks, so obviously the mask has to come off to eat that. Besides that, they do require that you wear a mask the whole time. They did do a temperature check to board all of the flights. My connection flight in Mexico was a little bit crazy because the connection area, there was just like everyone was there, just super crowded. They do have like social distancing announcements going on the whole time pretty much, but nobody's listening to it. So I tried to do my part, like stay away from people, but at the end of the day I'm still gonna sit next to somebody at the airplane, and it's not always like your group, So that was a little bit annoying. All the lobbies, all the flight boardings and all of that was the same. So there was social distancing in the lobbies. There was distancing to board the plane. On the plane, no distancing, but you do have to wear your mask the whole time. When you're getting off of the plane, it's the same process. They start allowing you off from the front of the plane, and they only go like 3 or 4 rows at a time, so it's never like everybody just stands up and gets their shit. It's a little bit more organized. So now the part that everyone is waiting for, the expenses. So again, my flight was from Tijuana to Cancun. It did have 1 stop. The stop on the way there was only a 1-hour layover. On the way back though, it was 2 hours, so it's still not terrible. and for the price, which was $235, it was so worth it. Flying out of LAX would have been about 3 times the price, almost $1,000. So that is why I chose to fly out of Tijuana. Border Express pass I think is about $20 to $30 round trip. The parking at Border Express I believe was like $110 for the 5 or 6 days that it was there. So it's about $20 per day. The cost of the rental car for the entire 6 days doesn't matter how many miles you put on it. The only thing that they ask is that you return it with the same amount of gas as you pick it up. So the cost of that was $361. If I would have done a private shuttle to pick us up from the airport and drive us back, that alone would have been about $300. And we had the car to go anywhere we wanted throughout the entire trip, so it's definitely worth it to rent a car. Tulum is about an hour and a half to an hour 45 from the Cancun airport, so it is pretty distant. The cost of Airbnbs was about $1,200. The first house that we stayed at for 2 nights was a little bit cheaper, but the cleaning fee was crazy. And the second house, which we stayed at for 3 nights, that one was about double the cost for the house itself, but the cleaning fee was really low. So it kind of balanced out, and I'm happy that I stayed at both houses. So $1,200 for a total of 6 days, and there were 5 people in my group. So if you all split it, it comes out super cheap. Spending expenses I think was about like $350. That is including all of our activities, all of our food, all of that. So anything that I spent there was I think about $350. So again, I was in a group of 5. Okay, so my flight and my Border Express ticket and my expenses I paid for just myself. As far as the parking at Border Express, the car rental, the Airbnbs, that was all split between the 5 of us. So my total expenses were about $900 to $1,000 for a 6-day trip, doing activities every single day and having the liberty to go anywhere I wanted. So super affordable, and we did a ton of activities. And on the topic of pricing, the flight was cheaper because of COVID. The Airbnbs, one of them was reduced because of COVID. The other one is just a low price. Some of the activities that we went to, they were reduced because not too many tourists are going. So overall, we did get a like COVID discount, and it was so worth it because there wasn't really much for me to worry about while I was there. I felt comfortable the whole time. And you know, if somebody's standing too close to you, like just walk away. Just keep some distance as far as you can. And like I said, we were wearing our masks the whole time. We were sanitizing. I felt pretty safe, and I'm so happy that I decided to travel. It was so worth it. Since I know it's such a crazy time, and a lot of people are not really looking to travel, and the people who do want to travel have a lot of questions and concerns. Do your research. Make sure you're not going to like a crazy exposed place. So Cancun doesn't have a lot of cases, and I looked into that before I went. So just be safe, wear your mask, distance as much as you can, bring some hand sanitizer and some disinfectant wipes. Just do your part, stay safe, but you know, enjoy yourself, because what else can we do? So thank you so much for watching my video. Hopefully this has helped you understand what traveling during this crazy time is like. If you have any questions, make sure to comment below, and hopefully you will subscribe and continue to watch my coming videos. Thank you for watching.